One. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, and thank you for being here, and welcome to another episode of the Deportation Defense Live. I am your host. I am Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney of Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. It is the 11th of October of 2022. I'm so happy to be here today with you, and let's get into it. All right, another episode of Deportation Defense Live. Our theme today is how does voting affect your immigration case? All right, and so gotta stay tuned. Gotta stay tuned. You want to see it. You don't want to miss it. So stick around. All right. So thank you and welcome, and thank you for being here. Remember, Deportation Defense Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants who are facing deportation to make the most out of immigration law, to make the most out of their lives, and to win their cases. All right? Are you facing removal in immigration court? Do you know someone who's facing removal in immigration court? Because if so, you know that it is not easy. All right? It is an uphill battle. The laws are against us, and we are here to maximize your chances of winning that case. All right? Today our theme is how does voting affect your immigration case? And so thank you to everyone who asked your questions. We'll discuss this topic in English and then we'll do it in Spanish. If you have a question as we go forward, hey, please send it over. All right? That's why we're here. And so let's get right into it. Before we get into the legal topic, I always like to start out with a small empowerment tip. All right? And so my empowerment tip is real short and sweet today. And basically all it is a little suggestion. The suggestion is to try meditation. Have you ever tried meditation? The last few weeks, I've been meditating for 10 minutes in the morning when I first wake up, all right? And I exercise every morning also. But I believe that meditation has allowed me to be much more present to my emotional state, all right? Have you ever said something and then immediately afterwards regret having said it, right? Have you ever said something and then like, oops, I wish I hadn't said that? You know, try building in a practice that allows you to be more conscious in the moment instead of immediately speaking or reacting in any way. All right? I believe that meditation has that power. You can learn to recognize your recurring thought patterns and sometimes stop them before just blurting out the most frequent or the most routine or the quickest reactive thing to say in that moment. All right? So try it. Tell us what happens if you try it. Or if you meditate already, please let us know in the comments how it works for you. Like, what do you get out of meditation? And if you've never done it before, hey, give it a week. Give it a week. And if you want a resource for that, sometimes in YouTube, I just type in the word 10-minute meditation. But often the site that comes up is called The Daily Calm. And that's the one I tend to listen to. It's useful. All right? It's useful. So, all right, that's my empowerment tip. Hope it's useful. Hope it's helpful. Let us know if it is. Or if it's completely not useful or helpful, hey, let us know that too. That's cool. All right? So thank you for being here. So let's get into the theme. All right? Let's get into the theme. The theme is, how does voting in the United States affect your immigration case? All right? So let's talk about, democracy. Democracy is important. Voting is valuable. But the general rule is that only U.S. citizens can vote. All right? The general rule is that only U.S. citizens can vote in federal, state, and local elections. All right? So you want to be aware of that. You want to be aware of it. Voting or even registering to vote can cause an immigrant, even a permanent resident, a lawful immigrant, or undocumented, right? Voting, even registering to vote, can cause an immigrant to become both inadmissible and deportable. All right, so you want to be cautious about that. All right? And sometimes the voter registration people, especially during election time, right? Sometimes voter registration people, they might say, yes, as long as you're a resident of the state of California, or as long as you're a resident of this place, you should register to vote in the next election. But, be cautious, everybody. Be cautious. Those voter registration people, they're often volunteers. They're often not attorneys. They're hardly ever immigration attorneys, right? Like, if you're an immigrant, even if you're a lawful permanent resident of the United States, registering to vote in a federal, state, or local election can bar you and can make you deportable and make you ineligible for citizenship and can even have them take away your green card, put you into deportation proceedings. So you got to be aware of it, all right? You got to be aware of it. You don't want to do it, all right? And so if that were to have happened, what could you do, all right? So I'll tell you a story. One time I got the phone call, lawyer, all right, lawyer, I made a mistake. I messed up. I was coming off of BART here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I was coming off of BART. There were voter registration people. I signed something. I did something. I registered to vote. I didn't actually vote, but I registered. Can I fix it? Can you help me? All right. And what we looked up is it took several days for the registration to appear. But when it appeared, there was a way to lawfully deregister that person. And so that's something that you might talk over. It's something that you might look into or think through. If there was a registration, could you deregister the person? If it was a complete mistake, right, you didn't understand what you were doing, then you will have arguments, all right? You will have arguments. It doesn't automatically just fix it, but you will have arguments that it shouldn't be held against you, okay? Another thing that I want people to know, imagine that you did do this. Well, what types of immigration cases could waive it? All right? First of all, marriage-based, family-based cases cannot waive it. There is no waiver of voter registration, or they would call it voting fraud. All right? There is no waiver of that on Form I-601, so it cannot be waived through a family-based process. It creates a permanent inadmissibility or deportability from a family-based process. So what types of things could potentially waive it? Well, asylum, all right? If you win asylum, it doesn't quote-unquote waive it, but you can still win asylum even with voting fraud. Let me say it like that, okay? Or even with unlawful registration to vote, okay? You could win cancellation of removal. You could win a U visa. You could win VAWA. You could win TPS. All right? There are certain immigration benefits that can still be options, and so you'd want to talk it through with your immigration lawyer if you have any of these issues from the past. But family-based cases will not work. All right? You got to know it. You got to know it. All right, that's my theme for today. That's all I wanted to go over today. I hope that was useful. I hope that was helpful. And now I want to get into your questions. I have received several questions. I'm receiving several more here as we speak. And so that's awesome. And so question number one, let me see here. Question number one comes from Alexandrino. All right. Alexandrino, you say, how can I finish my removal status with USCIS? I've been waiting for more than 13 years. I filed from my son. He's an American citizen. He filed petitions as a family. I have not received any notification from USCIS as to my next step. How can I go to an interview? Can you answer for me if your office has a case like mine. What can we do? I'm waiting. I've I'm the way. Let's see. I've traveled to Brazil. Thank you very much for your concern. Okay, so Alexandrino, thank you for asking this question. It sounds like we should meet and discuss where your case is currently at and figure out the best ways to get it. I believe that you have a case that's been filed and you're simply waiting for an answer. And sometimes this happens where USCIS causes a delay, USCIS refuses to administer a decision. There is a process that we can go through to, we call them inquiries and ombudsman requests. I did a whole training on them just last week where we can try to stimulate USCIS to issue a decision on your case. And so that will probably be the best next step on your process as a way to get the removal of conditions case squared away. All right, we will help you with this, and thank you. All right, so the next question that I see here comes from Louis cool name, Louis. Thank you for asking that question. You say you've been waiting on your case, and it says that you'll have to wait until April of 2023. Can we check or try to make it move faster? Well, Louis, thank you for asking that question. It depends on what type of case it is. It depends on several factors. And so without knowing more information, I'm not going to be able to really answer that question very well. What type of application was it? And, and is there some reason that you need to ask for expedited processing? Some cases, they won't even take expedited processing. Others, it's possible, okay? And so without knowing more, I'm not going to be able to know much. If you can answer back and say what type of case it was, maybe I could get you a more precise answer. The next question I have comes from Michael. Michael, you say, I filed for asylum in 2010. I've been going to court in San Francisco. I later got married with a U.S. citizen and filed for a green card in 2012, but I never heard anything from my lawyer then. But in 2018, I filed another permanent resident application. In 2019, I received a work permit. I've renewed it twice, but to my surprise, the work permit expired while I was hoping to receive the new one, and it expired on July 21st, 2022. I then filed for a renewal. Up to now, there's no reply on my renewal. Tell me what to do. Interesting. So, Michael, there sounds like there's a lot of different things going on in your case. Sounds like we should start by requesting FOIAs and really see what has gone on, because it sounds like you might have 2 or 3 different applications pending. And so let's request the records first, all right? And we can start that out with a consultation process, request all the records, review them carefully, and then give you a good idea of what are the next best steps to take moving forward, so that you can, so that you can get things going. All right. Let's see. I've got a question here on Instagram. It's in Spanish, but I'll translate it to English for today. Elvia, hello, Elvia. So you say, buenos días, tengo un caso de migración en el año 2000. So good morning. I have an immigration case from the year 2000. La recibí en el mail del Departamento de Inmigración diciendo que mis papeles están completos y han sido aceptados y solo espere la cita. ¿Para cuánto tiempo dan las citas a partir de recibir el mail? Okay, so she received the notice saying that the papers are in order and it's looking ready to go and ready to file for the final step, which is the consular appointment at the U.S. consulate overseas. So, Elvia, thank you for asking that question. Hello, thank you for being here. And I'll answer it in Spanish in the Spanish episode in just a moment. But the bottom line is, it sounds like you're in Mexico. It's hard to tell, doing this at Ciudad Juarez. And so the question is, okay, after the National Visa Center says that it's documentarily qualified, how long does it take to get an interview? And there, I wish that there was a fast answer and an easy way to give you a direct answer. I advise people that it'll still take about a year. All right? I advise my clients that it'll still take about a year since that documentarily qualified email because then you're going to be in the queue, right? You're going to be in the wait list to then get scheduled for the interview. It's not going to be automatic. And hopefully it goes faster than that, but it could also take longer than that. But it's sort of like up to the discretion of and the timeline of the particular consulate that your case is in front of. And so that's what you got to be aware of. All right, that's what you got to be aware of. I hope that was useful. Hope that was helpful. Elvia, thank you so much for being here. Those are all of the questions that I've received here today, it looks like. And so thank you so much for asking them. Yeah, thank you, everyone, for asking those questions. And so, if this was useful, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, all right? And if I haven't answered your question and you still have a question, please send it over. We'd love to answer it, and we'll upload those additional questions if we have them. And in the meantime, if you have an immigration case, please give us a call. We are here to help. We would love to help you. So thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, we'll start the Spanish version here in just a moment. And I really appreciate your tuning in here today. My name is Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. And I'll see you next week on our next episode of Deportation Defense Live. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.